Welcome. Take a slow breath in and a slow breath out. Tonight, we step quietly into the foggy streets of Victorian London, not into its mansions, but into its slums. We'll move slowly through narrow alleys and crowded tenements, where life was harsh, routine, and quietly endured. Let's begin by imagining what it was like to live just one day in a Victorian slum. Segment 1. Why you wouldn't last a day in a Victorian slum. You wake on a pile of rags, in a room without windows, sharing space with your entire family. The air is thick with smoke and mildew. There is no privacy, no comfort. Breakfast is a crust of bread, on weak tea if anything at all. Outside, the streets are busy and filthy. You head to work, a match factory, a textile mill, maybe a chimney to climb. The hours are long, the machines are dangerous. You're small, so you're sent into tight spaces others can't reach. Lunch, if there is one, is eaten standing. By the time you return home, your body aches, but rest is difficult. Walls are thin, illness is everywhere. The slum never truly sleeps, and tomorrow, it all repeats. This was the daily rhythm for many. Exhausting, grim, yet quietly persistent. Now, let's shift our focus to someone who tried to see this life more clearly, to understand it, and to document it. Let's meet Charles Booth. The Sad Life of Charles Booth. Short version: Charles Booth was a wealthy and educated man, yet he devoted much of his life to documenting the lives of the poor in Victorian London. In the late 1800s, he walked through slum neighborhoods most of his peers would never visit, quietly observing, listening, and recording what he saw. With the help of police and school officials, he created a detailed map of poverty, using colors to show the wealth or deep poverty of each street. Yellow meant rich, red meant comfortable, blue meant struggling, black, which he later regretted, labeled the lowest class. But for Booth, these colors represented real people: children playing in alleys, widows sewing by dim fires, and men living in shelters with almost nothing left. The deeper he looked, the more it affected him. What he thought would take a year became a 20-year effort. He didn't call for revolution, he simply paid attention. He made the invisible visible. Though reforms were slow, his work left a quiet legacy. Toward the end of his life, he faded from the public eye, tired, perhaps disheartened by the scale of suffering he had recorded. But his maps remain a silent testimony to millions of forgotten lives. Now, let's turn from the living to the dead. Let us walk beneath the streets, into the lost cemeteries of London. The Lost Cemeteries of London. Short version. Beneath modern London lies another city, silent, crowded, and hidden, a city of the dead. In Victorian times, as the population surged, so did death, but space was limited. Small graveyards filled quickly, and coffins were stacked deep 3, 4, even 5 layers. In some cases, graves were reopened to make room for more. These were not peaceful cemeteries, but packed burial grounds for the poor slum dwellers and plague victims. Places like Bunhill Fields and Spitalfields held thousands. Some sites rose visibly from the earth, a quiet sign of too many lives buried in too little space. The dead were never far from the living. Children played among the gravestones, washing lines stretched between them. Sometimes, the dead made themselves known through foul smells, foul water, or animals disturbing shallow graves. By the 1850s, the problem was undeniable. Parliament passed the Burial Act, closing overcrowded graveyards, and creating large new cemeteries on the city's edge, the Magnificent Seven. Still, the old cemeteries remain. Some became parks. Others lie sealed beneath buildings, streets, and train lines. And so, as you walk London's modern paths, you may tread softly over long-forgotten graves, quiet reminders that the past never truly vanishes. It simply waits below. Now, let us leave these shadowed depths and step gently into another world, where velvet curtains close out the grime, and tea is served in porcelain cups. It is time to visit the home of a Victorian industrialist. Tea at the home of a Victorian industrialist. Short version. Far from the crowded slums, In a quiet, well-kept home, life follows a gentler rhythm. You are in the drawing room of a Victorian industrialist. The fire burns steadily, casting soft light across fine wallpaper and ornate furniture. A silver tea set steams quietly. A maid moves silently, placing sandwiches beside delicate china. This is a world of comfort and control. Afternoon tea is a ritual quiet, careful, and calm. The man of the house sits upright, tired from business. His wealth comes from factories, perhaps textiles or coal, though he rarely speaks of the workers who make his life possible. The room is filled with polite conversation of music, art, and distant concerns. Yet reminders linger: the smoke outside, the constant cleaning, the quiet labor of servants downstairs. Everything here, every detail of luxury, rests on unseen efforts. As the tea cools and the fire dims, the industrialist sits in thought, perhaps of growth, perhaps of the sound of factory whistles in the distance. Conclusion: short version. And now, we leave Victorian London behind. From the harsh slums ... to Booth's quiet observations, through hidden graveyards ... and into the quiet wealth of a drawing room, we have wandered through a city of deep contrasts. A place of struggle, stillness, and slow endurance. Though the world has changed, echoes remain. And as you drift towards sleep, may you carry only a gentle memory of those who came before, of how they lived, how they endured, and how far we've come. Sleep well, good night.